I think this video is probably way overdue, as is a lot of the videos that I do on Watcher of Realms. But today we are going to be talking about Sun Wukong, hands down one of the best heroes inside the entire game, in my opinion. And as I always say, this is going to be on a 100% free-to-play account, so keep that in mind when you're looking at the gear, as well as the builds and all those sorts of good things. Now, my account is kind of stacked, I won't lie, but it is free to play at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and talk about him and what makes him so special. And first of all, at this point in the game, everybody should have him. Simple as that, right? Because he's been on 2 guaranteed summoning events already, both of which we had notice about well before they came out. So if you missed them both times, I'm not going to lie, that's kind of your fault. Let's be honest here, right? So I have mine A5, obviously, Awakened 5. I did that mainly with Soul Stones. I figured that he is a hero that is massively upgraded by putting Soul Stones into him, and I would definitely recommend that you do the same if you have the Soul Stones sitting around. I know some of the other content creators really promote the whole idea of like, oh, you never know what's going to come out next, but realistically, if you're trying to progress your account now, Sun Wukong is a fantastic way to do it. Let's go ahead and take a look at his kit. He has a talent. His third basic attack, so basically this is every third basic attack, summons one Sage's clone. What is a Sage's clone? Well, it inherits 100% of the hero's attributes. So that means all of his attack, crit rate, crit damage, attack speed, HP, all of that. Each basic attack deals 40% damage to one adjacent enemy. The Sage's clone takes 50% more damage. So, basically, it's 3 copies of him that are going to do 40% of the damage he would regularly do, but they take 50% more damage than he would. Up to 3 Sage's clones can exist simultaneously. Gains 1 stack of Undaunted Might every 30 seconds up to 5 stacks. What does that do? Well, each stack increases damage dealt to elites or bosses by 1%. So he gains 1 stack of this every 30 seconds up to 5 stacks. So up to a 5% increase. If summoning Sage's clone is not possible, or there are already 3 Sage's clones, the third basic attack will instead increase his attack by 20% for 15 seconds. So, for the astute observer among you, you probably already have some clues how we want to build this guy. Basic attack deals 120% damage to one enemy, nothing too crazy. Golden Cudgel Strike passive, each attack has a 25% chance to do 200% damage and inflict stun. If the enemy is immune to stun when triggered, it instead deals an extra 200% damage one time. So this is going to be like 400% damage, which is insane, at a 25% land rate on every single basic attack. Golden Glare passive. When the hero triggers Golden Cudgel Strike, so the passive we just looked at, he gains 1 stack of Sunder. Sunder can stack up to 5 times. Using the ultimate at full stacks consumes all Sunder stacks. The ultimate consumes full stacks of Sunder, enabling the hero to ignore 60% of the target's defense for 15 seconds. So essentially, if you have Sunder, he's going to be able to ignore a lot of defense. And finally, his ultimate, which is the big money, deals 100% damage 18 times to one enemy and inflicts stun, right? This is absolutely insane already at a base level. So this is 1800% damage on an insane range ultimate to a single target that inflicts stun with a defense ignore at a fairly low cost of 700, right? Absolutely insane stuff, but it gets even better with his awakenings, which we'll talk about here momentarily. So, excuse me, A1, the first time splitting hairs is triggered in each battle, allies within 2 tiles gain Monkey Business. Monkey Business is going to prevent death 1 time when the carrier takes fatal damage, dispels all debuffs on them, and restores 50% of their max HP. A2 gives him plus 300 attack. A3, Sage's clone has a 25% chance to inflict stun when dealing damage to enemies. If the enemy is immune to stun when triggered, it instead deals an extra 150% damage 1 time. If the hero has Golden Glare, he will also gain 1 stack of Sunder. A4, penetration plus 8%, and A5, where he gets truly insane, increases the damage instances of splitting hairs by 18%. Ladies and gentlemen, you read that right. 18%. This went from 18 hits to 36. Literally doubling it. And raises Undaunted's Might stack cap by 25%. Or 25, I should say. So essentially, you're doubling how many hits, you're doubling the damage of his ultimate, literally doubling it, right, with an A5. Then, you're also making it so he's going to stack up to 30% ignore defense against bosses or elites, instead of 5%. After using Splitting Hairs, Golden Cudgel Strike's trigger chance increases by 35% for 12 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, Sun Wukong is in a completely different world. He's a completely different hero after you have him A5. If it is at all possible on your account, I would highly recommend that you A5 this guy as soon as possible. Part of his arm is actually hollow there. I just noticed that. He has, like, no texture on part of his arm, so you can actually see his face when he puts his arm up. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at his artifact. So for him, I do have him in his maxed out exclusive, so it's just going to flat out increase his damage by 30%. Summoning Sage's Clone additionally restores 6% rage, so he's going to be an absolute rage cycler. If you don't have Golden Cudgel Strike for him, you could use him in a Wailing Skull, obviously, right? Since he's already a summoner, that wouldn't be a bad way to go. Any sort of, like, single target damage relic or artifact is really going to be what you're looking for, but at the end of the day, Golden Cudgel is going to be the way to go. It's best in slot, hands down. You could also run him inside a Shattered Hilt, right? But if you don't have a Golden Cudgel, start farming artifact material raid. Get that as soon as possible. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at his gear as well. Now, I have no regen on this guy. I have no rage regen on this guy because I'm just depending on essentially other heroes like Elowen inside the team composition, as well as his exclusive giving us more rage regen. In terms of the overall build, this is what we have: 22,000, almost 23,000 on the attack. We have an attack speed of 363, which brings his interval down to 1.5 seconds. We have 115.5 and 340.5 on the crit rate and crit damage, respectively. Like I mentioned, no rage regen, so nothing too special. And then also 50,000 HP, so he's a bit of a tanky boy, certainly. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at his gear. So we do have a crit damage bangle here. You know, obviously, if we had something besides healing effect on there, it'd be significantly better. As you can see, the gear overall definitely is pretty darn good gear. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? He has some of the best gear on my account because, hands down, he is one of the best damage dealers on my account, so you got to make sure to take care of him. And there's the arm glitch again, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and talk about, real quick, the gear sets that you're going to want to use on him. So left-hand side, you're going to be looking for, like, Warlord, Calamity, Whirlwind, Annihilating Might, and Wicked Vengeance, right? Same DPS sets that we see on everybody. For right-hand side, I would actually recommend Soulbound Arcana to be his go-to set, essentially, because the set bonus from it is going to be very, very good, because he's cycling his ultimate super quickly. And then also you could run Infernal Roar on him. You could run, of course, basically any damage-dealing set, right? So, like, Cataclysm would be very good, but I think Soulbound Arcana is going to be the best option. I have my window open to let in, like, fresh air, presumably, and somebody outside is smoking the nastiest weed that I have ever smelled, so that's a bit of a shame, but let's go ahead and let's continue on. And hey, if anybody's curious about that, or if YouTube is now going to demonetize me, I am in Canada, where that stuff is 100% legal across the board, so don't mind that, right? If you're somewhere where it's not legal, I didn't say nothing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the arena first of all. We're going to go into our defense team, and we're going to go to the single target and really just show you what he is capable of. So he's a very, very special hero because he brings a lot to the table that other heroes wouldn't necessarily. So he has a lot of sustain in the way that he's placing a lot of stuns, which means that the enemies just can't hit him. He also has, hands down, one of the hardest hitting ultimates in the game when he pops it, right, against a single target. There's not many heroes that are going to be able to hit harder than him. And as you can see, he's doing a lot of stunnage already. They've only been able to hit him twice so far. He's already got 2 Sage's Clones up, which are attacking the boss, or the enemy is, excuse me, the enemy as well. And now we have the 3 clones up, so he's going to do big damage. He's very consistently stunning the enemy too. Right? Absolutely insane stuff. Now, I talked about how, you know, it should be kind of clear to the astute observer how we want to build him. And the best way to build Sun Wukong, in my opinion, is essentially just going to be with a lot of crit rate. So, you know, max out your crit rate, a lot of attack, and then a crap ton of attack speed. So basically as much attack speed as you can possibly get on him. And the reason for that is he really benefits from attacking more, right? Because every time he attacks, he has that chance to stun. He summons the clones on every 3rd attack. He does extra damage whenever he's attacking more. So overall, you just want him to attack as much as possible because that's going to be what benefits your team the absolute most with this guy. So just something to consider there. Attack speed is definitely the way to go. This is actually the team composition that I use for my single target arena. Obviously, it goes a little bit better than this when I have it set up, but you know, it is what it is. Let's just go ahead and quit the battle. You've seen what kind of insane damage he can do. He's very, very good for Semra. I did a Semra video last week, I think it was, where I uploaded that, and it went live earlier this week. And this guy is absolutely insane because he can place the stuns that you need to take care of the phase 1, the Saw phase of Semra, right? So having an extra stunner on there is crazy. We're going to go ahead and put him into Nightmare 4 so you can really just see like what kind of damage he's bringing to the table. So we're also going to run him with a healer, so an Eloin here. We're going to bring in a lead for him too. So we're going to bring in the Torador. We're not going to place Torador though. We're just going to go ahead and do a play test on this. I can guarantee you guys right now he's going to be able to get through the first shield solo. I don't know how he's going to do against the second shield, but hey, I guess we'll find out, right? No time like the present. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then we're just going to kind of let this run and let the boss do his thing. We could pop the ultimates, you know, right away and whatnot, but we're essentially just going to save it up and we're going to wait. As you can see, which, I mean, it should be kind of obvious, I suppose, but the clones cannot be healed. So whenever they take damage, they're going to die. But that's okay because it means that he can summon more clones, as you see, that get nice, fresh health bars. But additionally, they also restore his rage because of his exclusive artifact, right? So as you can see, Sun Wukong on his own gets through the first shield without a singular issue, doing over 13 million damage so far. Absolute insanity. The next shield, if I remember right, is at like 245, I want to say. So we'll essentially just go ahead and kind of fly through until we get there. His ultimate's doing roughly 5 million per pop, it looks like. And then obviously his damage is just going to go up and up and up and up from there because we have Soulbound Arcana on him too, right? So let's go ahead and pop that ultimate again. We did about 4.5 million there. Going to go ahead and pop down some heals here. And now we're essentially just going to save up the ultimate until we get to his next shield and see how he's able to do against that. So it should be at 245 here. There it is. And boom, he goes in there and pops. And he's able to take the shield down with this build by like half himself. Now, unfortunately, I doubt we're going to get the shield all the way down. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. We need to get some procs of extra damage here, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So yeah, unfortunately, he can't solo the second shield in this build. But we don't even die. Right? Because he gets... I think he has the stack of monkey business on him, if I'm not mistaken. I think he can apply it to himself, so it essentially just prevents his death, which is pretty crazy. So we're still going, ladies and gentlemen. We're still going. And this guy's got 58 million damage already. Now, like I said, he is completely transformed at A5. So if you have your Sun Wukong and he's not A5, you're definitely not going to be getting this level of performance out of him. But he's still a very competent damage dealer, especially for boss content. So just something to consider there, right? But if you're really trying to push Semra, or if you're really trying to, you know, push even just Guild Boss 1 and get some records or whatnot, he's going to be absolutely crucial for doing that. If you look at really all of the top teams, even inside Semra, if you look at most of the top teams inside single target that don't rely on some BS strategy with like a Valderon or something like that for the arenas, he's going to be in a lot of those teams as well. And as a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and take a look at Semra. So let's do our guild myself. So we have a A5 Sun Wukong, A5 Sun Wukong. No Sun Wukong here, but they have a Poison Explosion team, which requires like 4 other champions. And then we have an A1 Sun Wukong. And then you look at the worldwide rankings, right? A5 Sun Wukong here, 1.16 or 1.6 million coming in there. A5 Sun Wukong, A5, 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 A5. You can see how much this guy dominates boss-related content, right? And it's like, you know, the damage isn't even close, really. Like, you have an A5 Praetus, who's built out pretty crazy, and then you have an A5 Sun Wukong, who's presumably built out pretty crazy too. And the A5 Sun Wukong is doing almost twice the damage of the A5 Praetus. And not many people have an A5 Praetus, ladies and gentlemen, but this just goes to show you how absolutely insane this guy is, right? Like, it's absolutely crazy what this guy can do. And you'll even see him down here in teams like this, where he's still one of the primary damage dealers, one of the primary breadwinners, if you will, of these team compositions. And you have other fantastic DPS in here, right? It's not like, you know, they're slacking. So in this, you have A5 Kagiri, right? You have A4 Kagiri plus an A2 Lust. You have A5 Praetus, and he's still just out damaging everyone on the team. That's how absolutely insane this guy is. So he can help you in PvE, PvP, basically anywhere you might need to progress. If we look at single target, look at Apex Overlord, we're going to see him ranked 6th in here. If we just look at Overlord, he's ranked 6th again, right? So if you don't have Valderon, or if you don't have, like, you know, the Sargax and the Ardeas and those sorts of things, he's going to help you out an absolute ton with this. It is definitely a little bit unfortunate how much they've made it just the Valderon show for everything besides, like, you know, anti-air, but it is what it is, I guess. At least they gave us a raid up for Valderon, which I was unfortunately not able to get, but I did get Unimerit, so can't complain too much. But that being said, I hope this guide or showcase was helpful for how to build Sun Wukong, obviously where to use him, and just how good he is. If you have him, definitely use him. Last thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and give him ratings just so that we can be, you know, completely fair, and you can get a good idea of where he's going to be used. So for faction trials and guild bosses and Void Rift and all that sort of stuff, he's an absolute 5 across the board. Immortal Codex, absolute 5. Absolute 5 in single target arena. Artifact material, also a 5. This guy's one of the best DPS units in the entire game, people. Guild War, also a 5. I don't know who rated him less than a 5. Tide, absolute 5. Gear Dungeon 2. Do I use him there? I don't, but I still think he's going to be a 5. EXP Raid, also a 5. Gold Raid, 100% a 5. Gear Raid 2 is a bit more interesting. I'll give him a 4 there. Gear Dungeon 1, also going to be a 4. Gear Raid 1, probably like a 3. He's serviceable, but it's not really his specialty. AoE DPS, not good. And then Gear Raid 3, he's not useful at all. Anti-air DPS arena, he's just not useful. So he is absolutely sensational, though. Absolutely sensational. Build this guy out. Use your soul stones on him. Channel memberships are live, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and hit the join button down below, as well as the subscription button if you want to support the channel. Make sure to like the video. Let me know as well where you use him, what your build is, and how you're liking him so far. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.